Pat, you always make me laugh. So we left off on you're cursed with knowledge. That's what most people actually want, knowledge. But let's talk about this. Like, and again, I don't want to be too in the weeds here and boring or nerdy or what have you. But stagflation, I mean, it's important. So let's make sure we describe what it actually is. Over to you.
Okay, it's very simple. It's high prices and less demand. So, what happened is when you have inflation, people want to buy things usually because they know the price will be higher tomorrow. And as a result, that encourages growth. The problem is when you have stagflation, you have high prices, but people don't have the money to buy. So therefore, the high prices don't go away, but the demand does. So therefore, you have a stagnant economy coupled with high prices, stagflation.
Okay. And you also don't have the wages that can keep up with those high prices.
Again, when all these companies negotiate their wage increases, they're dealing with the past. They say, okay, inflation went up 5%. It's like when the United States government announced that the 2022 Social Security payments would go up 5.6%, which everybody thought was an incredibly high number. And it was a strong number based on the rate of inflation at that time. But don't forget that was for 2022. As soon as December's numbers hit, it was 7%. So they're already underwater. So that 5.6% doesn't even cover what the new cost structures are. And that's not going to go away. As inflation keeps going up, even if it doesn't go up a huge percentage, just an incremental amount, they're still stuck with 5.6% for all of 2022. The same thing with wages. Any wages are always reactive rather than proactive. So when these companies announce big wage increases, bang, it's already lost with inflation. So their buying power keeps decreasing. Now, when you have something like the big factors are food and energy. If food and energy prices keep going up, that gap continues to widen because those are the essentials. So all the discretionary money dries up because they're so worried about putting gasoline in their car and cereal on their breakfast table that they don't have money for discretionary purposes. So therefore, you have that problem of high prices because they're not going to go down, and you're going to have slowing demand, stagflation.
Got it. And Pat, though, what gets us out of that situation if that's the situation we end up being in? Now, I speak to a lot of economists and strategists, very well-known people, including yourself, of course, and bond traders, and many would say, again, people are not worried about stagflation, and they actually say that COVID is very deflationary. And you had a really interesting comment about this the other day when we were speaking offline that, maybe COVID is deflationary, but not when you have a government that, prints trillions of dollars.
Right, that's it. It is. If you look at the idea of what the pandemic did, it was in the first quarter and second quarter of this year, of 2021, it was deflationary. And the reason why the inflation rate was so low is because people weren't able to buy anything. They were locked in the basement, sort of like you in your house right now. Okay.
Thanks.
But as soon as they got out of the house in late third quarter, early fourth quarter, it was a renaissance, a splurge of spending. So therefore, we went from a deflationary circumstance to a highly inflationary circumstance within months. So therefore, instead of having a V recovery, I said it was an L recovery because it just shot up. That's it. So we had that euphoric buying thing. So therefore, yes, I could say a pandemic is deflationary, but I could also say when that ends, it's highly inflationary. And that's how I look at it. You just can't make a general statement on it.
Yeah, but it's difficult because there's so many moving pieces and parts. It's hard to know, where we really level out in terms of people just getting so excited to be out of their house and therefore they're buying. Maybe this all does kind of, simmer out a little bit. No?
Well, again, one thing we know, change is constant. And I think that's what everybody has to understand, that You know, also there's an economic concept called adaptive expectations, where you view the future in the past or in the present. So therefore, this is what's going on today, and it's going to be this way in the future. And one thing this has taught us that you can't view the future based on the present.
We're going to leave it on that note. Thanks, Pat. We'll be right back.